If you are suffering from 100% CPU usage on ARC Raiders, then I might have the actual fix for you, and I could not figure this out. I have a 9800 X3D, and I was constantly running into my processor being maxed out at over 100% while playing ARC Raiders, and I finally figured it out. So I noticed it when I went into my task manager, and if you look right here, you can see I have 8 cores and then 8 logical processors. The 9800 X3D should have 16 logical processors. So I knew something was wrong, and that led me to believe that it was a BIOS setting that was disabling half of my logical processors. So after doing some research and really digging into my BIOS, I found game mode. And game mode, essentially what it does is it disables your logical processors, basically your hyper-threaded cores, and forces your physical cores to take on all of the load. Now, this can be a benefit in older games that don't leverage hyper-threading, but in newer games and pretty much applications nowadays all leverage hyper-threading. So you really want to turn this off to make sure you have all of your logical processors. After this fix, I went from like 110% processor usage down to like 60 to 80 on average, and my game has significantly improved. I could not figure out why my game was feeling like it was running at like 30 FPS, even though it says I was like over 100, and I have a 4090, so I knew something was just wrong and I couldn't figure it out. So I'm going to walk you guys through exactly this. I'm going to show you the before and after, and then just go over quickly how to do it. So if this video helps you, consider subscribing as you watch this. And I love creating content like this, especially focused around gaming and PC related content. So if that resonates with you, then definitely drop a like and subscribe. All right, so for my control tests, I load into Buried City. Buried City is the one map that I've noticed that my CPU is really always maxed out, especially the night mode. Unfortunately, there's not a night mode for another few hours at the time of recording this video. So we're just gonna basically do it this way. And right now you can see like my processor across the board is pretty high. It's like hitting the 90s, 94% usage. If you look to the left of my character's head underneath CPU 8, that's my overall CPU usage. But you can see the individual cores are pretty much hitting in the 90s. And this is just literally walking around the map. I'm not even doing anything. And pay attention to my FPS too. So I'm like 100, and I'm going to set my little graphs here to start recording as a benchmark. So my average FPS is about 109, just running through the map. 110, 90. My 4090 is pretty much sitting at 97, 96%, pretty much maxed out. I was trying everything to get this to work. And I mean, like, I was trying to force, I was using cinematic settings to try to force as much load to my GPU as possible, because I just couldn't figure out why my 9800 X3D was maxing out. See, like right here, you're hitting like 96%. Now keep in mind, I don't have anything running in the background, and I have a stream PC doing the encoding, and I have my game PC only rendering the game. So if you have a scenario where your PC is doing both the stream and the game, you're gonna suffer really badly as far as performance, and you're gonna get a lot of stuttering and freezing because your processor is gonna be maxed out. So 91. Now imagine if you're trying to stream on the same PC, doing the encoding at the same time. I actually could not stream on the same PC because of this setting. I found out that after enabling this, I was able to stream on the same PC. I couldn't figure out why I couldn't stream and game on a 9800 X3D and a 4090 at the same time, and this is the reason. But another way that I noticed this is that you see my CPU cores 1 through 8. I should have 9 through 16. Instead of 1 through 8 only. So use MSI Afterburner and enable all of your cores, and you can definitely tell if you're not getting all of your hyper-threaded cores. So now we're going to switch over, and I'll show you the difference after disabling gaming mode. All right, so I've gone in and I've disabled gaming mode in my BIOS, and if you guys want to see that, it's going to be at the end of the video. I just wanted to show you the compare and contrast to see if this is your issue or not. So if you look at my logical processors now, it's showing that I have 16. So I still have 8 physical cores, but I'm supposed to have 16 cores, logical cores that are hyper-threaded, right? So you always have like an additional 8 hyper-threaded cores with the 9800 X3D. It does change depending on which like processor you have, say if you have a 6-core 12 hyper-threaded CPU or something like that. But that's definitely a way you can tell if this is enabled. If you've never actually gone into your BIOS, or you're not really comfortable working in your BIOS, that's how you can identify it. And now take a look at this. Using Afterburner, you see how I have CPU 9 through 16 now? That was another way that I noticed. I was like, hey, I'm missing half of my cores here. What's going on? And in the beginning of the video test, I was actually sitting at like 80% in the menu, and now I'm at like 50% processor usage. And that's just sitting in the menu. There's a lot of times I was over 100% just sitting in the menu. It's crazy. And now the way you guys can actually enable that, if you go into your Afterburner and you go to your monitoring, you can actually enable all of your processors here. So you want to click on here, you want to make sure it's checked, and then show on screen display right there. And if you go through and enable all of your cores, you'll notice if you're missing these, because you won't even have the option to enable 9 through 16, or it would be 7 through 12 if you have a 6-core 12-threaded CPU or something like that. So just go in there, enable those, make sure you have those enabled, and then you can actually go to your on-screen display. I just have it as Alt with the little / so I can turn it on and off at will. And then that's how you can actually know if your cores are enabled, if you can actually monitor them. All right, so we reloaded into Buried City, and immediately you can already tell my processor usage is way down. If you guys noticed from the last part of the video, basically my processor was in the 90s, the high 90s, especially across the board. And now my overall CPU usage, if you look to my character's head, go left, and then underneath CPU 8, I'll kind of move it so you guys can probably see this a little bit better. But if you look up underneath CPU 8, my CPU usage is right underneath that. So for the entire CPU, if you average it out, so it's about 60%. So I've already dropped my processor usage by 30 to 40%, and depending on your scenario. And I've actually gained FPS. So if you guys were looking at the last part of my video, it was about 109, 110 FPS average. Right now I'm like 130. And again, on night mode, I was constantly having stutters and these little when you're playing, it's not even a stutter, right? It's like freezing for like a millisecond or two. And stutter kind of just jumps, right? Because your frame time is like kind of jumping all over the place. But I was like legit just like freezing like this, where it almost felt like you were lagging because my processor was maxed out. So I'll fight these arcs. So look at that, still 60 in the 60s. Explosion doesn't even change. Before, I was just constantly maxed out. Even if you look at my Steam overlay now, my CPU usage is down to 70% instead of hitting 100. Honestly, it's insane. I could not believe that this was the fix and this was happening all along. I never really paid attention to it. I haven't really done too much testing, and I recently built this PC. But I just couldn't figure it out. So if you've had issues, this is probably what your issue is if you're maxed out and you have a decent PC. Okay, so first things first, if you want to get into your BIOS, the first thing you need to do is restart your PC, and there's going to be a tiny little message that pops up either in the center or the right corner of your screen, and it's going to tell you which key to click in order to get into your BIOS. For me, it's delete or F2. Sometimes I've seen F1 or F3. Just see which one it is, restart your PC. If you don't get it the first time, just restart it again, and just whatever key it is, just spam click it until you get into it. For me, it's delete. So whenever I want to get into my BIOS, I reset my PC and I just spam click delete until it gets in there. And then when you're in your BIOS, make sure you use your keys to navigate on your keyboard instead of your mouse. It's just a lot more intuitive. So you can use your arrow keys, tab over. Typically the setting is going to be within your OC menu, or it could be an advanced or something like that. Every board partner is going to be different. So you just kind of have to honestly quick Google search, look up whatever motherboard you have, and then look up gaming mode and how to disable. And honestly, you'll be able to find it that way. If you have an ASRock board, an X870 platform, then this is going to be 100% guide for you. So it's an OC tweaker. You're going to look for gaming mode and then see how it says enabled. What you'll do is you'll basically arrow key over to it. You're going to hit enter, and that's going to take us into it. And then you're just going to tab up to disabled using your arrow keys and then hit enter. And then you always want to make sure when you're changing settings that you go over to save changes and exit in the exit menu. Save changes and exit, and that's going to enable whatever setting you have, either enable or disable it. It's just going to make sure it saves, and then your PC is going to restart. All right, so that's going to close this video out. If this video helped you and got your CPU usage down from being just maxed out 100% all the time, I've seen so many posts, especially on Reddit, of like people even with 9800 X3Ds like me or 9950 X3Ds, just really powerful processors, just constantly hitting 100% on this game. And that's probably why that feature was enabled by default on my board. And I didn't even think about it when building it because I've always had that off and I just didn't think about it. So check to see if that's enabled. Make sure you disable it. See if there's a difference for you. For me, it dropped by 30-40% on my processor usage. Again, you'll notice this logical processors, you should be 16. It'll vary for you depending on which processor you have, but that's a good way to check, and just go into your task manager performance to do that. So this video helped you, then definitely subscribe and be on the lookout for my live streams. I love streaming Arc Raiders specifically right now, but I like playing all kinds of different games. So if you're new here, I go by NickyT, and I love creating tech, gaming, and PC related build content. And again, subscribe, like the video, it helps a ton, and I'll see you guys on the next one.